Parents, welcome to today's lesson, which is preparing for Lent. The story we covered today in class was the story of our Lord when he went out to the desert and was tempted 3 times by the devil. This is a story out of Matthew 4, chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. And I want to take the time to read a little excerpt from what we covered today in class. And it says, inspired by the Spirit at his baptism, Jesus wanted to be alone for prayer and fasting. It was a true preparation time for his public ministry. So, for 40 days and 40 nights, Jesus fasted and prayed in the desert. This time prepared him to meet the most difficult challenges that lay ahead. That best captures what Lent is really all about. Today we covered what is the season of Lent. It's a very important time on the liturgical calendar by which the Christian imitates Jesus in his 40-day and 40-day night period of purification. There's 3 ways that our Lord tells us that we should do during this time and is echoed throughout the church. And it's basically fasting, prayers, and almsgiving. These 3 pillars are what we use to not only now grow in holiness, but really build and gird up the spiritual life. So what are those things? Well, the first one was prayer. We made sure that the children who should be doing their morning prayers and evening prayers, we say that this is a very special time of prayer where you really go out of your way in a real intentional way to increase your prayer activities. I told them for where we're at in our development and where we're at our Rcia-C program, we're asking them to go for it and be intentional. Be intentional in the next 40 days and 40 nights to spend that time in prayer. It could be for an extra 15 minutes here. It could be coming for an hour of adoration on a certain day during the week. But to be intentional in your prayer life is what we're asking them to use in this next period. Fasting. We had a lot of conversation on fasting today. What is fasting? Well, the church mandates fasting. There's 2 fast days in the year, and they're coming up. The first one is going to be Ash Wednesday, and then the last one, the other day, is Good Friday, both in the same period. By the catechism, by the rules of the church, what we do here is on a fast day, that means that you eat only 1 meal that day, and the other 2 meals are supported by a reduced portion. This is expected of adults, not necessarily children, to participate in this. From the ages of 14 and above should be participating in this practice, and below, it's understandable if parents feel they not do that because they need their nutrition and sustenance. That being said, we do encourage it here as you are coming into the church and to actively participate in this fast, the way it's practiced in church. But here's the other thing. It's not just restriction of food. Fasting is meant to get us a spiritual detachment from worldly things. The question that we pose to the children, the question we ask ourselves as we go through Lent is, what is blocking me right now from coming closer to Jesus? What is consuming my time and my day and my activities that if I got rid of, I would be a better disciple of Jesus? That's what fasting should be targeted to. The worldly things. So, in the case of most of our students, playtime, electronics, phones is where a lot of activity is. Facebook time, social media, these type of activities. Fast. Take a fast from it. To not only show that you don't need it, but it also gives you time to give that over toward holy practices. So that's fasting. The other piece is almsgiving. Jesus was big on almsgiving. And why is that? Because where our wealth and treasure goes, so does our heart. So, traditionally, almsgiving is a way of giving of your possessions back. And in the church, obviously, we're going to give that back to the poor. We're going to give that back to the needy. We're going to give our money to different charities in the name of growing closer to the Lord. I have personally experienced a big growth in generosity by doing the Lenten practices of almsgiving. See it all the time, every year as we go through this and in my own personal life. The other thing, though, is the question is, if you're a child and you don't have money, what can you do? Well, you can scoop up the loose changes around. We will be sending a rice bowl home for the children. The whole Archdiocese is going to be participating on it. And you can put whatever donations you can make and muster. Money from Christmas and birthdays can help. But it's a way to give to the poor with your money. But it's not just about money. It's deeper than that. It's about giving of who you are. It's being generous toward others with your time and your talents. If that's all you have, then give that away. It's really answering, how do I share the divine life that's about to hit him in a real way once we get to the sacraments? Give the divine life away. Give of yourself away. And this is how you get that, through almsgiving, that practice that way. The first two deal with yourselves. Prayer and fasting, it's all about working on me. Almsgiving is all about giving toward others, and it's outwardly focused. The other topic that came up for Lent is abstinence. Now that's different from fasting. In abstinence, what we're going to do is restrict ourselves, and this goes on Fridays during this period, restricting ourselves from eating meats. We could also do that on Wednesdays. It's an old way to do it, Wednesdays and Fridays, still practice in various areas. But definitely Fridays, there should be no meat, and this is what we eat Fridays, hence the word Fish Fridays. We do that during this time. And you'll see a lot of advertisement for fish and seafood during this time of the year to complement what our practices are. So, Lenten practices, abstinence, almsgiving, prayer, fasting. It's about imitating Jesus in preparing yourself for the new life, which they're going to receive once Easter comes. In short order after Easter, we'll be heading toward our final initiation sacrament. The other thing that was covered today was offering spiritual sacrifices, offering up your suffering. The Lord blesses this in a very powerful way. What is that? When now in this next period of 40 days, there will be some real suffering, self-imposed, restrictions. What we do with that is important, because we can offer up that suffering. We can offer up that pain. We can offer up that depravity and say, Jesus, take this and transform it into a gift of love, a gift of grace toward somebody, toward my enemies, toward my mother, toward this. It's almost wasted riches, the sufferings we have, when we don't apply it and offer it up. Now, why does that work? Because God is transforming the world. God has suffered. Jesus suffered on that cross, and if we take our sufferings through that cross by offering it to Jesus on that cross, he takes that and makes it his own and renews the world. That's the theological logic behind it. So the kids can do that now, and it's powerful, and it does real big acts. Jesus takes our sufferings as probably some of the most powerful prayers we can give, and we highly encourage that. But in this period now, we get into that practice. We get into that ability of prayer, and it increases our prayer life. So that's the lessons for this week. We look forward to seeing everybody on Ash Wednesday. We'll be out there and supporting the catechumens through this period of Lent. Bye now, and God bless.